Hello, everybody. Welcome to City Talk Fall River. Actually, it took a while.
Yeah,
There's
longer
a
than normal.
on YouTube when you start the show, you have to hit start broadcast, and then it goes right into live. And Derek is always off when he tries to guess when it's going to go live. But it took extra long today.
Yeah, it did.
It did. Speaking of which, there is no Derek today.
Boo.
Yeah, he didn't even explain this time. He was just like,
I'm
"I
not
ain't going to
here.
be making
Yeah.
it. I won't be in the city." He was very vague with us. I think now that there's a Trump presidency, I think he just went into like the underground.
Mhm.
Now he's doing like covert operations for the city, possibly for the Trump administration. I'm gonna
Well,
go.
he is the scribe, right?
He is exactly. If he was a superhero, his name would be the Scribe
True story.
or the Tornado.
Mm.
It would probably be more fun if it was a tornado.
He'd be both.
The Tornado Scribe,
No, he'd be like two separate characters,
it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yes.
It's interesting. He does have a little bit of a mood swing every once in a while
Mhm.
too. He is prone to be moody. Speaking of prone to be moody, Donald Trump is the president of the United States. How you feeling about that, Nikki?
Oh, a lot of feelings.
Number one feeling.
I honestly, for the first time in my life, I can say that I'm like unsure. Like that's the only thing that I can. My faith, I guess, has been shaken. Like
been very
I just don't
unpredictable.
know what's going to happen. Yeah, I just don't know.
Very unpredictable person in general.
I don't even think it's about him. It's so much bigger than Trump. I think at this point, it might have been anybody else. It was just a big middle finger to the establishment on both sides.
Yep. I think there were a lot of Democrats that voted for Donald Trump as well.
Mhm.
It had to have happened.
And I think they weren't expecting that. I think they just thought everybody was still going to follow along with Hillary. But if you remember the last time I was here, we discussed women running. And I said that there is no woman right now that I think could
You're absolutely
become
right.
president because they are established. They're still old school politics.
Mhm.
So in seeing her not win the election, it was like, okay, I'm felt like I was on the
People
right
chose the crazy guy over the
Mhm.
crazy girl. So it was a matter of that
I don't even
point
think
too.
crazy girl. I think established.
But
I think she's just part of the system. When she was running, like, all right, I kept having flashbacks of the 90s. Let me just say, even with Trump winning, when he talks about putting Newt Gingrich in a position, I'm thinking already if Newt gets in, we're going to have a replay of what happened during the 90s, right?
Right.
And we're going to see a bunch of trials where a Clinton is the main focus. And I feel like if that's what happens again, then what was all of this for?
okay.
You know what I'm saying? And
Sure.
so that's part of what I'm like, here we go again. We're going to go through all this again.
There was someone wanted to sit down and talk to me about the primary factors of what I felt, how this all happened. He was distraught. He was a non-Trump person, and he was just really distraught by this. And I think that like if we broke some things down, it probably is more. Maybe you might disagree with some of the things that I would feel is part of this, but I think the number one thing that really changed the outcome of this election. I don't. You really think about the role that her emails and the WikiLeaks situation played in the downfall of Hillary Clinton's campaign. But overall, from the beginning, Hillary Clinton ran a horrible campaign and made bad decision after bad decision. And she made a bunch of bad decisions as Secretary of State, in my opinion, that proved to me personally before she even started to run that she wasn't fit to be a presidential candidate or the president of the United States. That's my personal opinion on Hillary Clinton. And she proved it to me. Number one thing she did, and think about, you're talking about unifying bases and people solidified. She did not solidify her base. She didn't take Bernie Sanders in as a presidential, vice presidential candidate. That was probably the number one dumbest move she did in her campaign.
That's part of the establishment.
Yeah.
That's where I think that falls in. But we also need to mention that she did win the popular vote, though. So that
She did not win the popular vote.
she did.
She did when it was all finalized, because not everything was counted. Donald Trump came out on top in the popular
Did he?
vote too. Yeah.
Okay, so I missed that then. I take it back.
Yeah. Yep.
Huh.
Don't mind me. I always eat when I'm doing the show. Usually, I'm having some delicious pumpkin spice life cereal right now. It is unbelievable, and I don't even like pumpkin spice stuff. And this is delicious.
You obviously do.
I'm a believer now, like the Monkees. Remember the Monkees? I'm a believer. Yeah, but they sing "I'm a Believer."
Yes.
It's a great song. If our whole show didn't get shut down every time I play a song, I'd probably play it. But every time I play something good, our whole podcast gets shut down. I get emails from YouTube. What are you doing? So I can't do all that. But no, all like just those 4 factors were, in my opinion, the email situation, the Hillary Clinton, just not a likable candidate in general, running a horrible campaign, leaving herself wide open with those emails, leaving herself completely vulnerable by not solidifying the base. Like, she just screwed up left and right. And then the number one thing, I'm watching this woman debate Donald Trump. All 3 debates, she's trying to do the tit for tat thing with I know, the whole like bringing herself to this level of trying to one up him. Everybody who's tried to do that has lost that battle because that's Donald Trump's arena.
It's just because he doesn't care.
Right.
So when you're trying to insult someone who
Right.
doesn't care, there is no.
Absolutely.
There is no.
You
But then
lose.
he does care on some level. Both of them during the debate. We've said for months that both of them are pretty sucky. So it just, to me, it's not. There is no win here, and I don't. I'm trying to find the win.
Nah, we all lose on this one.
Yeah, that's
whether
right.
she won or he won, we weren't going to win on this. You factor that in, right? So I'm watching these debates, and I'm like, why isn't Hillary just saying something simple like, "Hey, Donald, why don't you tell America how a bill becomes a law?"
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there wasn't of that.
If he flubbered his way through that one, like that's how you would have won this election. But you look at everybody who tried to battle Donald Trump. Ridiculous. Remember how ridiculous it was when they were bringing their wives into the conversation with Ted Cruz?
But do you think that he won because of what he was saying, or do you think he won because people are just sick of the establishment?
He beat his opponents because his opponents kept on trying to play his game.
See, and I don't think so. I think he would have won.
There were many factors into why he won overall.
I mean, and I didn't think he was going to win at all.
Right. There were many factors into why he won overall. But I'm just talking about what the other candidates that were running against him did. That they just handed it to him on a platter. See,
I don't look at it like that. I think that no matter what, the voters weren't going to give it to anybody else.
I'm not saying that that's not true. What I am saying is that as his opponents, they fell right into it. They fell right into it. Not one candidate except for maybe John Kasich came up there and just talked about what he's going to do as president. Mm-hmm. Everybody else their platform was bashing Donald Trump, and Donald Trump's platform was bashing everybody else. That's all that we heard from top to bottom. From top to bottom.
Nothing on policy.
Yes. Not a single person besides, I believe, John Kasich and maybe a couple other guys. Like, you can maybe make a case that Gary Johnson did, but Gary Johnson himself kept saying, "Oh, don't vote for the establishment." But it was like you still weren't talking about what you're gonna do. That's why ultimately I didn't vote for him myself. And if anyone needs to know, I wrote in John Kasich because I thought he was the only presidential candidate that was telling people consistently, what he was going to do as president. Everybody else, including Hillary, some Bernie Sanders. I mean, Bernie Sanders was like still vilifying Wall Street and things like that, but he didn't really talk consistently about what he was going to do as the president of the United States. A lot of people fail when they don't do that. They all decided to play Donald Trump's game. They all decided to try to smear. I watched Hillary Clinton commercials where they didn't even show her face. They showed Donald Trump through the whole thing. Right?
Right, but they showed his words.
Okay. Advertising 101.
I understand. What did I say from the beginning? I said he is a business genius. I said that marketing, that man knows exactly what he is doing. He got his name across the world for pennies, without a doubt.
Right.
But with her commercials, they resonated with me because they were his words.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of, and I will say this, when the results started coming in and you could pretty much tell Trump had it, I was very emotional.
Right.
More emotional than I thought. Typically, I'm that person, you know how I walk the line. I call myself a habitual fence walker because I always see both sides of it. So to me, it was like, if a Republican usually wins or a Democrat usually wins, they're still going to kind of come together and work as a team. This is the first time where I had that feel like, oh my God, what if he does press that button? What if he does build that wall? What if he does start sending people home? And then on top of it, like it was very emotional. I had family members calling me, you know, who are part of the LGBTQ community and, you know, asking me please, because a lot of their family members voted for Trump and they're like, I hope you back me up. And I have biracial kids who called me up and were crying saying, what do I do? You know, I'm afraid. What if I get pulled over just because of the color of my skin? So as I'm hearing that, you have to say Trump's words did resonate. I didn't hear anybody else saying those things. I heard him saying those things. So for me, that's what got me very emotional. You know, like I'm thinking, is somebody going to stop him from trying to blow up a country because they're Muslim? You know, I don't want that.
And then stop and frisk right.
You know how
right.
and pumping money into the prison systems. Like, no, we need to fix.
And Donald Trump has actually shown support in his history towards private prisons.
Yes.
And private prisons has been like one of the number one disasters in this country.
Amen.
From top to bottom. But real quick, I want to get through these things, right? These factors. So Hillary Clinton being a horrible candidate and playing the same game that all the people who lost to Donald Trump did, which was just a stupid strategy altogether, top to bottom. So she just left herself completely vulnerable to bashing like you wouldn't believe. And then one of the other dumbest things she did, didn't she call a bunch of people a basket of deplorables? Didn't she do that?
She did.
You're trying to get elected to be the president of the United States and you're calling people deplorables?
Well, somebody got elected who calls a lot of people much worse than that.
But no, he didn't say Hillary's voters are deplorables. No, he didn't.
He insulted Democrats. He insulted a lot of people across the board. He insulted Latinos. He insulted African-American people. He insulted a lot of people across the board.
You're trying to be but people who are supporting him.
What I'm saying is she was the establishment, so no matter what came out of her mouth.
But people who were supporting Donald Trump already knew what he was going to do, right? They already knew where he was coming from. He didn't change his path.
Did they know where he was coming from?
They were no. Well, if he was duping them,
I mean,
no.
I refuse to believe that the people who elected him believe everything that comes out of his mouth.
I know that he duped a lot of people into believing certain things. I know that. What I'm saying is his base knew he's going to criticize this and criticize that and bash people and whatever else, right? What I'm saying is when Hillary's trying to define herself in this, she's never been the one to call millions of people deplorable. She's always tried to appeal to the other side in her history, right? Verbally out in public, obviously behind closed doors, she's a maniac. But out in public, she is running for a position. And her perception has never been the way that Donald Trump's perception is. I'm saying that like her goals for how people perceive her has never been the way that Donald Trump's goals is to perceive him. He's going to be critical. He's going to call people out. He's going to insult people. Right?
How could she be wrong in saying that, but him not wrong in saying? I'm trying to see where you're coming from.
Because again, she's going against what she was trying to represent herself to be, where he's already there.
Yeah, well, I think that comment too could have been out of like, seriously, there were some people who there are a few basket of deplorables.
You gotta, when you're running against Donald Trump.
Not everybody, but there are certain groups.
When you're running against Donald Trump, you have to do two things. You have to rise above that garbage and you have to expose his
Are you going
inexperience.
to run up against Donald Trump?
I probably could have. But no, real
that'd be
truth.
funny.
But real truth, if you're going to beat somebody like him, you have to do two things. You have to expose his inexperience, and you also have to play above the board.
I still don't think that would have worked in this election.
Well,
because
not with Hillary.
I,
She was a bad candidate.
from the beginning. But remember, I also said that I didn't think she wanted to be president. To me, I felt like she was kind of pressured. Like they didn't have anybody else. So their go-to gal, once again, right,
Mhm.
is going to be a Clinton, Hillary Clinton. They tried this the last time and it didn't work. So
Right.
let's try it again to get Clinton in there. And right from the beginning,
Mhm.
I just don't think, just because of the way the vote happened. Now, months ago, I was saying, of course, she was going to get elected. But when you see the election and the way the votes came down, I don't think there is anything else that she could have done that would have garnered more votes. I just think she was going to lose it no matter what came out of her mouth.
I don't think she was going to lose no matter what. Not that I wanted her to win. I wish they both would have just lost.
I hear you.
but the truth
Which
is
is another issue.
But the truth is, she was having this handed to her on a silver platter at one point. And
Yes, she was.
And she botched it. She completely botched it. And
But did she botch it, or did she just really not want
No,
it?
she
I
botched
still
it.
go back
No.
to that, and I say
no, she wanted it.
she just, if she really did though,
Yeah.
wouldn't she have done all those things?
No.
She's a smart woman.
Not that smart.
She is though, Trot. You can't. She is a very smart woman.
Obviously, she's made so many mistakes as the Secretary of State and in her campaign. Why would I give her any credit for being smart in this capacity, in leadership capacity? She's bad at this. Clearly.
I never said she was good.
I'm just saying she was bad
I never
at
said
this.
she was good.
All right. She ran a bad campaign, and I think she did want to become the president of the United States. I think she's always wanted to become the president of the United States, but she keeps on screwing up because either she's surrounding herself with bad advisors, which, by the way, if those emails are valid, she
Oh, yeah, they're
definitely
all
surrounded
horrible,
herself
yeah.
with horrible individuals to run her campaign. So there's just so many factors in this. So many factors.
Well, do you think a part of, because I believe that a part of her demise was what she did with Bernie Sanders, and not so much for herself, but people in the DNC and how they were trying to bring Bernie down, how they didn't want Bernie to be the nominee. Do you think Bernie Sanders would have beat Trump?
I actually think he would have held his own better than Hillary Clinton did. I think he resonated with a lot of people because it's weird because he's a socialist. I mean, he's an admitted socialist, and there are a lot of people that believe socialism is bad for any kind of country. So he would have had that working against him in that capacity. But he was easily, far and away, the most likable character in this election.
Mm-hmm.
He was the most likable person to the point where Donald Trump wanted him to be.
I liked Kasich.
I like Kasich too. But Bernie was a likable guy. People liked him. They might not have agreed with his politics, but he was a likable person, somebody that he felt could easily sit in any setting and talk to people and bounce ideas, and more acceptable to change or difference of opinion than, say, Hillary or Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And definitely more than that lunatic Ted Cruz. So you have a really good. I mean, Donald Trump would have took Bernie Sanders on as a vice presidential candidate. He would have.
I don't know if it would have got as ugly. Like, I don't know if it would
Right.
have.
Because
Did he come up? Did Trump come up with a name for Sanders? Like, because he had, Ted the Lion Ted, and Crooked Hillary, and Little Marco Rubio.
he never had to
Did he have
really.
one for
I don't think he
Sanders?
had to get dirty and down and dirty with Sanders. He liked
It's
Sanders.
interesting.
He actually showed that he liked Sanders, and he said he sympathized with him because he knew that the DNC was colluding against him to make Hillary the candidate. You know.
God, my only prayer is that he is the best president that we've ever seen on the
Yeah,
planet. That's
I'd
the
rather
only
be
thing
wrong than right on
That's
this.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm like, please, God, make me wrong. Please make me wrong.
I've been publicly critical of Donald Trump for the past few months, and
Rightly so. Everybody
and-
should be.
and people have like unfriended me, and you know what I mean. And I mean, I'm going to be running for city council next year in Fall River. There are a lot of Trump fans in Fall River,
Yeah.
so I put myself out there to possibly lose votes. But how am I gonna stand here and not speak my mind just because I want people to vote for me? I'm not your typical politician like that. Like I'm gonna speak my mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna stand by my word.
But see, and at the same time, I hear you saying that. So what I would say to those people who removed you from your friends list or what have you, I would say to them, how can you be upset with somebody for voicing their opinion against somebody who voiced their opinion and you like them because they voiced their opinion? One of the biggest things about Trump and their supporters is they say they like Trump because he says what's on his mind. But at the same time, they want to squash the way other people, like, it just doesn't go that way. You know, freedom of speech is for everybody, whether we like it or not.
I agree. And they like Donald Trump because he speaks his mind.
Right. So in that case,
they like guys like our friend Jordan because he speaks his mind, and Josh because they speak their mind, and this and so I'm only supposed to speak my mind when it's in agreement with what they want to hear, that's the message that I get when I'm being criticized for speaking my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you know how I feel about that. That's why I don't talk too much politics with people. You can like whoever you like, and I can like whoever I like. That's what makes the world spin. I
agree with that. And you know, people say that I always agree or we're always in agreement with each other. And maybe that's because we share very similar principles.
We grew up the same way pretty much, you know?
On certain things, but we've had disagreements on this show, and it's never gotten to the point where we need to stop being friends.
Is that what it is? Do you think people just like to argue with somebody and then maybe it's just because even if you differ in your opinion, I'm not going to hate you for it. I appreciate your opinion.
Even on like hardcore political topics such as like abortion and things like that, I can disagree with my friends and still be friends with each other.
Absolutely.
But there are people out there that are still to this day fighting and arguing, and buildings have been blown up over this stuff. And look at the way that Hillary supporters are acting right now. Like, you kidding me? What
are you saying? Are you kidding me?
You can't. Well, all right. You can protest all you want.
Give me an example.
There's been riots. It can't be riots over this.
What kind of riots?
Damaging of property, people getting hurt.
How come I haven't?
You haven't seen any of this?
Not at all.
Oh, it's out there.
Watching the news, so I don't know.
It's out there. It's definitely out there.
I know there's protests. But
there's nothing wrong with protesting. If you want to protest, that's perfectly fine. If you're stopping traffic, you need to stop. You need to stop. Black Lives Matter did the same thing. I said the same exact thing. They need to stop. They can't do that. That's counterproductive to what you're trying to do. Oh, I don't like Donald Trump. He's divisive. He's a damaging individual. So I'm going to damage other things too. You're contradicting yourself. You're being hypocritical. You can't do that. Just telling anybody out there that's planning on protesting.
But you have the right to your freedom of speech.
Absolutely. You can do that all day long. Speech is different from knocking things down.
Like, are people being,
yeah.
Where is this?
It's been out there. It's been out there.
I'm only asking because
that's cool. I listen to public, what is it? The NPR, National Public Radio. Mm-hmm. I listen to NPR a lot, and I listen to right after WSAR shuts down, because I can't really listen to a lot of those shows. But when they have all the right wing stuff on, like I can't think of his name right now, but I listen to them a lot too. I listen to 790 AM, which is all Republican radio all day long.
Isn't it crazy how much we listen to AM now?
I've been listening to AM for a long time, but I try to listen to the moderate, which I consider NPR to be more moderate, and I try to listen to some left-wing news, which is really a typical news, is mostly left-wing, like NBC and CBS and all those kind of guys. And then I try to make sure I get my conservative crazy people in too, because I want all.
Are you calling conservatives crazy?
The people who host those radio shows are definitely crazy.
So,
oh yeah, but I like to listen to everything. Yeah. Howie Carr is he was a big Donald Trump supporter, and he's on 1420 AM in this area too, which is out of the Bedford area. Mm-hmm. But I listen to him too. He's a huge Donald Trump supporter. So I listen to everybody to try to make sure that I'm gaining a perspective all the way around. And I like to point out the hypocrisies in between them all as well. And right now, I think that the looters and the rioters, not the protesters, but the looters and the rioters right now that are upset about Donald Trump being the president, you're hypocrites and you're being completely, completely off the spectrum as to where you think your beliefs are in the world. Now, if you're just having a simple protest and you're holding signs and you're doing it the right way, you can do that about anything. You can protest that you like hot dogs more than hamburgers. I don't even care.
Said the right way. What's the right way? Is
not
there a
hurting anyone.
handbook for protesting.
Not hurting anyone.
Has anybody been hurt?
Yeah, man, you're asking the same question again. Yes.
Because you couldn't tell me where.
I mean, you want me to pull up some things?
I would like to see.
All right,
yeah.
I guess I got to take some time out here.
I mean, if we're going to talk about it, just because
Well,
I'm
I got
not
them telling
hearing
you.
that,
I got
I'm
them telling you that
not
there are
seeing
news.
that, and I like to
There are
me.
news reports out there.
To me, it's like I'm listening to you, and you're like the right and the wrong way, and I'm like, but what's the right way? I mean, I don't. If people are being hurt, then you're correct on that. Nobody, no property. There shouldn't be any property being damaged. Fires being lit, things like that.
All right, so anti-Trump resistance, assassination threats. I saw that on Twitter. By the
Okay,
way.
but I mean, when
That's
they say
still the wrong way.
assassination threat, I
Hey,
agree.
that's still the wrong way.
I agree.
All right, you want rioting and assault, okay? Nationwide rioting, police
Okay.
call it a riot.
Okay, but what makes it the riot? I want
All right,
that's
all right.
Because we're talking about the media.
We got
we
photos.
we can't sit here and do this, okay?
We got photos.
Because we're sitting here and we're saying the media only shows us XYZ, right? That's what everybody's been saying. Oh, media only shows us XYZ. And now we're talking about
There's a burning car in the middle of the street on
Okay.
this photo.
It's a car. Whose car is it?
It's rioters.
I may light my own car on fire if I'm that pissed off.
Well, then you'd be wrong. You're not supposed to destroy
Light
property.
my own car on fire.
Oh,
I'd be
so
wrong
you can destroy
in your
property. So,
opinion?
yeah. Are you being devil's advocate right now? At
I
this
am
point?
not. No,
All right.
I want to know if because I haven't heard this.
There are rioters in the streets,
Yeah.
right? In the middle of the streets,
Yeah.
blocking traffic, and there are burned cars. Are you saying that someone burned their own car right
I don't
now?
know. I'm
Okay.
not there, so I can't
All right.
say.
All right. They burned
If
American
they burn
flags.
somebody else's car,
They
then
burned
they're wrong.
American
If
flags.
they burn their own car, I'm not saying anything about burning American flags.
All right.
That's freedom of speech.
Okay. Okay.
I might not like it, but it's still freedom of speech.
It's a fire hazard in the middle of the street. Okay. All right.
If you look at some of the biggest protests in history, okay, it looks pretty much
There's
the same
video.
way.
There's video of unknown if the criminals were regular citizens.
It's the criminals.
Yeah.
They're already calling them criminals,
Yeah.
Trot.
Well, because they were burning cars in the middle of the street. Oh, listen, if you want to burn your own car, that's fine. You can't burn it in the middle of the street.
Why not?
In the middle of the street?
It's not near anything.
That is in the middle of the street where people drive, where kids cross roads. Right?
Are we? Come on.
If there's a burning car in the middle of the street,
Come
do you
on.
you know?
Come on. There's been more rioting for basketball games. There has been more
Oh,
rioting
I was saying
for
that. Hey,
sports
listen,
games.
listen,
Come on.
listen. I was saying that to my friend Scott Donnelly and Rick Barlow today because we
Both
were
awesome dudes.
Yeah, we were down at Turner Park and we were cleaning up the park and stuff like that. It's a beautiful park right
You
now.
love it.
I'm so proud of it. You know. But I said to those guys, I said, hey, these guys are burning cars and rioting over Donald Trump. You'd think it was something serious and important, like the Red Sox winning the World Series or something. Because, that's what we did. That's what we do. But no, really, no, all jokes aside, this is happening. You
Right.
can't deny this.
I'm not
If you're
denying
denying this, we're shutting this show
I'm
down
not.
now.
What am I denying?
Just joking. But no, because I will never
What-
shut the show
But
down.
if there's a big, to me, I just think is that part of our conditioning to say that protesting like that isn't right. Like the whole freedom
It's
of speech
wrong.
thing, I'm telling you.
It's
haven't been in
wrong
my
if
brain
you're
for the
putting
last-
people in a position to be hurt.
Right, but if there's nobody around that burning car, right?
It's a
Burnt
public
car.
street.
I grew up with dumpsters being lit on fire all the time.
Those were hazards too, Nikki.
Yes, they didn't hurt nobody.
They could have.
They could have, but didn't.
If you're putting people in a position to get hurt, it's wrong.
I'm not there, so I don't know what they're doing.
Right.
I'm not there. I only know
You
what
asked
the media
me for-
chooses to show me.
You asked me for evidence. I showed you evidence.
Yes, but it's not good evidence.
Back to my point.
In my
You
opinion, it's
rioters.
not good evidence.
Back to my point.
Mhm.
You your news reports. I showed you news reports. Is there pictures? I showed you pictures. You want me to take you to California and
I would
take you to
love
the
to
burning
go.
street?
I would love
That's
to
the only
go.
way I
Oh
can
my
show it
gosh,
to you.
Let's go protest.
But real quick, I wouldn't protest. But real quick, these protesters that are burning cars.
you wouldn't protest stop and frisk.
Oh, you're right. I would do
That's
that.
what I'm saying.
Hey, as a matter of fact, I'm on
That's what
record.
I'm saying.
Hey, as I'm on record as saying I would snap if somebody did stop and frisk.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of stuff. That's why I think all of this is very emotional.
Yeah.
Like when you realize, like, there are people who are afraid that they're gonna have to leave their homes.
That is true.
So I can't say that. I'm not there. So I don't know what the media is showing us versus what's actually going on. Come on, and we know that.
Right.
So I can't say that somebody is wrong for protesting, or just keep your hands off other people's property. Keep your hands off other people. Protest away.
So I think that you were saying what I was saying before about not destroying property, not hurting people, I think, right?
Yes, you can destroy your own property.
So there are right and wrong ways to protest. And that's why I'm not saying to the protesters that you're being hypocritical. What I am saying is to the rioters and the property breaking and the burning of cars and fighting and hurting people, you people that are trying to say that Donald Trump is going to destroy peace in America and then go out there and turn a car over and burn it out in the middle of the street, to me, you're being hypocritical and you need to stop. That to me is that's my message that I'm saying to those people. The people, again, that are on the corner, that are not hurting anybody, that are just expressing their opinions and their voices, that to me is perfectly fine. And like I said before, I was saying before, if you are protesting anything, if you like hot dogs more than hamburgers and you want to protest it, feel free to do that. But if you are protesting and you are physically imposing yourself on people or property and things like that, that is counterproductive to your message. That's not going to get things done.
Life. That's
absolutely.
I say fight for your life.
Black Lives Matter, when that was going on, and I think it still does go on sometimes, but when that was going on, that was ridiculous to see traffic being stopped, ambulances being stopped in gridlocks.
But look how much we all paid attention to it.
The ends don't justify the means.
I'm not saying that they were right to do so.
Okay.
This is where I'm saying, like, if the world isn't 100 years old, where millions and millions and millions, there's been wars, there's been uprising, there's been things forever. This is a part of it.
Yeah.
We're watching history right in front of us. I think
like,
that's what's most scary to me.
I think the number one thing, though, is if I see a ambulance in the highway getting stuck because of this protest,
I would be one of those people. I would help to clear the highway to get that ambulance out.
Right. I would lose my mind. Like, I would be so angry at the people who are stopping us because they're putting their personal views ahead of the welfare of an individual that could be possibly dying. That to me is completely insane. So that's my problem there. That's why
this is part of the uprising. I think this is where it's scary times right now.
Another factor that I believe was played into this, just the entire Hillary piece is what it is. Now we look at like certain things, like people are afraid. People are scared out of their minds that refugees from another country are going to turn into terrorists. They're afraid that immigration is going to completely deteriorate their culture and well-being, and the way of life that they know it. They're completely afraid of certain agendas from the left wing, such as the gay agenda from during George Bush, marriage equality, imposing on their Christian values or their religious values. People are afraid that other people are taking over, quote, their country.
And I believe they have a right to be that fearful.
There you go.
We are right now. The Republicans are in charge of all three forms. They got the House, they got the Senate, they got the White House. Right. So I think that's a big thing. And
there's an opportunity they can get a Supreme Court.
I mean, they are going to. There's no way there is going to be a Supreme Court judge.
Right.
So there's just no. So when you look at those freedoms, marriage equality, abortion, women's rights, the rights of immigrants, I just there's a lot.
Well, no, I think we're mixed on our messages right now. I was saying the reason why Donald Trump was voted in was because of the population that was afraid of the terrorism and the immigration equality, marriage equality, and things like that, imposing on their culture. So there was a group of people out there that were fearful that this integration of cultures was going to take away their country. So they came out full force to vote against that piece as well. And I believe that was a factor in it. I think the biggest.
You think
factor,
that was a big factor, though?
I don't think it was the biggest factor. I think
hope
it was
not.
a factor.
I would hope not.
I think it is a factor. I think it was definitely a factor. There are people that were thinking
in the more rural areas,
right?
That definitely.
And he hit big in the rural areas too. But yeah, those to me that was a factor. The biggest factor, like I said before, was Hillary Clinton running a horrible campaign, like just and being a bad leader in general. And that's just me being conservative on that view. You know, there are people out there that think she belongs in jail. Mm-hmm. You know that there are people out there that think she's the Antichrist and all that other stuff. So I'm not even touching on that, but there are people that believe that. I'm sure that was a factor as well. But number two, I would say the fear of terrorism, the fear of our policies overseas, things like that. I think that was the other factor into this. And Donald Trump did a better job of convincing his base that he was going to be strong with the military and strong on foreign policy and strong on, we keep on losing to China and we're losing all these deals. And like his message got across better to his base and perhaps to people on the fence than Hillary did, because I have still to this day no clue what the hell Hillary Clinton was going to do in her foreign policy. Not a clue. Because she just was bad at getting her message across. She kept on spending too much time trying to criticize Donald Trump, and it just didn't work. It was
part of their questioning too. The questioning during the debates wasn't really great either.
That's on her. She has
a question of the people who at the moderators.
Yeah, but not a single.
They're the ones who are asking the questions.
But nobody answers the questions. Donald Trump didn't answer one freaking question in the debates. They just talk about what the hell they want to talk about. She had an opportunity. She had a platform. She chose not to take it. So she did a bad job of resonating with them. I think Donald Trump did a better job of resonating what he was going to do, even though I think he's full of crap too. Other factor involved in all this was obviously there's the gender and the race factor. It's there, everybody. Hate to tell you this, but it's there. There are people out there, in my belief, that voted for Hillary Clinton because she was a woman, that voted for Donald Trump because he's a man. And surprisingly enough, Donald Trump got about 50 to 60% of the female vote.
Right. So I don't think it played I don't think it played a role. The fact that she was maybe the real hardcore, the real hardcore guys out there, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
The ones who don't want a female president or, but I don't think if that was such a big issue, I believe she would have one.
Well, it shouldn't be an issue, but I think people made it an issue, and it was a factor in her not getting elected.
To me, it wasn't a factor in someone's sex does not.
No, but I think there are people out there that were saying.
But I'm just saying for me, that's not a factor. Just saying for me, just me. I can't control your vote.
I voted for John Kasich. Those were the primary factors that I felt like played such a part, and then of course the appeal that Donald Trump had from a perspective of non-politics, of I don't pay attention to politics, but I like Donald Trump. He's a TV figure, he's a popular figure, businessman, that kind of thing. There were a lot of people that don't pay attention to the deep parts of politics, that know nothing about what Hillary Clinton has done in her history, but know every episode of the Celebrity Apprentice. You know what I mean? And I think that he motivated some of those people to get involved in the vote as well. So he had a lot working on his side when it came to the pop culture vote and things like that. People who didn't care whether or not he was making vulgar comments or whatever else. I think there are people that actually he appealed to on that level. So
hopefully it was a small group that he appealed to on that level.
So there was that factor as well, that he was just a personality and a person that just was very talented at bringing attention to him and coming out on top no matter what, whether it was critical or not. So that was that. And now we got President Trump. And the Republican Party itself is in complete control. They have the House, they have the Senate, and they have the White House, and they may even have the Supreme Court majority.
I cannot wait, though. I will say this. I cannot wait to see what the next 6 months brings us, because it'll be really interesting to see how Trump gets into office, what he actually does versus what he said he was going to do.
Mhm.
You know, and whether his supporters, those who voted for him, think that their choice was still a good choice in 6 months. We'll see.
I have a little picture here. I think you might laugh at this.
You know, I've
one.
actually read quite a few things that seem to think that the Republicans are going to try to get Donald to come out so that Pence can step up.
And Pence has insane.
And he is even worse.
Yes, Pence is an interesting individual, to the point where he's scaring half the not half, probably the majority of the gay
of them.
community, are shaking in their boots right now because of some of the policies that he represented about
Make
a
no
decade
mistake,
ago.
So are women.
Yeah, women too. Yeah, of course. So the people that are in those communities are have been significantly scared and affected by the outcome of this election, because the positions that Pence was taking about a decade ago when he was, I believe, the governor of Indiana. It's a little scary if you're in that community, guaranteed. So the stop and frisk thing for me, I'm ready to completely snap if he
Enforces it?
if he enforces it. And you know that there were rumors too that he was going to put Rudy Giuliani.
He is.
Yeah,
There's quite a few of them.
him and the guy from New Jersey that shut down.
Chris Christie.
Yeah, shut down the bridges.
Well, no, Chris Christie, he had put Chris Christie on his transition team,
Yeah.
removed him, and put Mike Pence in his place.
Oh, that's special. So yeah, if Mike Pence was running for president, I probably would have came even harder against him than Donald Trump in a lot of cases. I'm very concerned that
Which makes you wonder why Pence wasn't the one who ran.
Yeah.
It's interesting. That's why I said the next few months will be really interesting to see how it plays out.
How they push this stuff through and everything else.
What gets pushed through and what doesn't get pushed through, and what promises he made, what he does, what he keeps, Yeah. I know he did. I heard, I can't say if this was his quote or not. They supposedly he did say that he would keep protections in place for the LGBTQ community. Am I saying that right? LGBTQ?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got lesbian, bisexual, LBT. G is gay.
Okay.
And then T is transsexual.
Yep.
And then Q is actually queer.
Queer.
Which is,
Which is gay. But I
why
mean,
would they
to
keep that in there?
I don't know.
Because if you call somebody a queer now, that's almost saying the N-word
It's
to
a
people.
slur.
Yeah. That's weird. All right, but you were saying, I'm sorry.
What was I saying?
You were saying something about Pence's.
Oh, no, that Trump had said that he would keep the protections in place.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And I told you this last
I
week.
hope so. I hope that he does, because those are important.
I told you this last week that he said that he was going to protect the marriage rights of gay people. And I kept an eye on the Mississippi crowd during the RNC, during the national convention, and they weren't cheering. They had a look on their face.
That's why I said it'll be really interesting to see what he does. Now the Republicans are in charge. We all know that the president's not the only one who makes the rules.
Yeah.
So this is where I'm saying, when you have so much support backing somebody like Trump, who and I believe the reason that he was so well supported was because people do believe in what he said about change. They do believe in, bringing down the establishment, tearing down the walls,
Mhm.
and then building them at the same time. But it'll be interesting to see for sure.
Social media is always fun. Take a look at this one. There's a picture of Donald Trump sitting in a chair, kind of blank staring into space.
When you lied about your qualifications and experience for a job you applied for and you get it, now you're going to figure out how to do it. And I at the beginning of
Look at his face.
of election day, when they first started counting the votes in Florida, he stated his team was nervous that they weren't going to win. So I almost think was he shocked?
Mm.
And I said that I didn't think he wanted to be president either. I thought it was the biggest, the biggest advertisement.
Yeah.
It's a big, huge advertising campaign. So
unfortunately, we have him as the president. Although,
but what happens if he steps down? He's not the president.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, these are the crazy things that can happen. It's
And
just, then what?
he just hands it over to Pence.
Imagine, would there be worse riots? I
They
don't know.
probably would be, yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, they're probably, well, people would feel like they were set up. So there would be a lot of people, the people that voted for him would lose their
That's
minds.
what I mean.
But I really don't see that happening. I can't
I don't
think
know.
of
There's
someone.
so many games. You know, I've said there were a lot of things I thought I would never see in my lifetime, such as a Trump presidency.
Someone with Donald Trump's ego. I would never think he would go through this process
You think
to
he's
lose.
going to work that hard, though? You think he wants to?
To be like Sam Sutter, just delegate. I'm not even trying to make fun of Sam Sutter. That's what he did. I mean, that's what he was advertising himself on. He always surrounded. He said he always surrounded himself with the best people. Even Donald Trump has said, "I've always surrounded myself with the best people." That's what they do. It's like, well, why we vote for you? Why don't we vote for all the other people? Put them up there.
Mm-hmm.
The hell we got to vote for you for? I'm just saying.
That's weird.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to reiterate that the Hillary Clinton campaign was an absolute disaster. It was one of the worst run campaigns I've seen. Al Gore ran a horrible campaign when he ran against George W. Bush the first time that George W. Bush won. I mean, he tried to distance himself from one of the most popular presidencies. Did I say that? Wow.
I was like, did you see my face?
Wow. Presidencies. No, he spent so much energy trying to separate himself from Bill Clinton at that time because of the Monica Lewinsky scandal. The funny thing is that Bill Clinton still had a high approval rating, and definitely in his Democratic base. He should have ran with that if he wanted to win, if he was smart in any capacity, and he probably would have won his home state. He actually lost his home state of Tennessee. That's just ridiculous. That was Al Gore. That was one of the worst run campaigns I've ever. Actually, up until Hillary, that was the worst campaign I've seen in a long time. And the campaign that was run by Hillary beats that. Beats it. Because at least when the Democratic Party had a chink in its armor back then, when Al Gore ran, and he was the vice president of Mr. Bill Clinton, the one that was getting into all this crap about his impeachment and everything else. When it came to Hillary, she just beat Bernie Sanders, who was very, very popular to everybody out there. She had an opportunity, wide open opportunity. She could have put one of the most likable candidates we've had in a long time as the vice president on her ticket. And she said no. And she put one of the most dislikeful people I've seen run for vice president in Tim Kaine. A nasty, nasty individual from the way that he was acting. From top to bottom, he was just a jerk to people. And I didn't get it. And I wasn't understanding it. It didn't make any sense at all. And again, I'm not even a liberal, but I'm looking at this just strictly as an objective individual watching this and saying, if I'm in her shoes, I'm jumping at the opportunity to get Bernie on my ticket. You kidding me? Like that's like you being peanut butter and not getting some jelly. It just doesn't make any sense. You got to get it. She didn't get it. It just didn't make any sense. So then she goes and does that, and it just falls apart altogether from there. To the point where even Donald was like, "Hey, Bernie, not only are you getting screwed from the DNC, but Hillary's not even taking you on as a vice presidential candidate. I'll take some of your votes. Come on over, buddy."
I still say I wish Donald would have run as an independent.
They both could have ran together as an independent.
Yeah, it would have been a much. I imagine a race that would have had. Well, it would have. Yeah. I think it would have opened the gates more. Like we're talking about breaking down the party lines.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And here we still had a Republican Democratic race. But I don't look at Donald Trump like when people are calling him the Republican Party. I'm like, he is not a Republican. He is not a true Republican. The things that come. If a true Republican would have never said they'd protect LGBT community, never in a million years, they would have shot that down right away. So I would have loved to have seen him run as an independent, because I believe if he would have run as an independent, then we would have had Bernie. So I think it would have been like a 4-way race that might have just been a whole hell of a lot better. Maybe that'll be what we see in 4 years.
I think Bernie should have run as this. The way I see it is, Bernie should have run as an independent because Hillary would have gotten knocked off, completely. All right, here we are. Let's see if we can do this right. Hello, how you doing, buddy?
How's the guys at City Talk doing today?
Very good. This is Rick
We
Barlow.
love Rick Barlow.
I was going to take a nap, then I said, I can't take a nap. I got to listen to City Talk.
Well, usually sometimes people listen to City Talk and take a nap at the same time.
But it's tough to take a nap because I'm on a ladder too.
I got a lot of energy today too, man. I'm kind of going off the top right now. So
I don't think my wife would be too happy if I took a nap on a ladder.
No, she definitely would not.
well, it depends on the mood she's in.
She's not home. She's out with the kids at the Comic-Con watching all the comics, spending money.
Oh, that's so awesome.
That's cool.
But what do you think about that $1 million view down there at Turner Park now?
So everybody, just so everyone that's listening right now, if you go down to Danforth Street over to Turner Park, I have been working with a couple of guys who have been busting their butts down there to clear all the wooded areas and the brush and the thorns and the millions and millions and millions of thorns and trees that have been blocking this awesome, amazing view of the waterfront down there. And
They're not trees, they're weeds.
well, I think that there are some trees out there, but 99% of it's weeds. Yeah,
Big weeds.
he's
Big weeds.
only a few people, a handful of people have gone down there, and we really have been a little bit disappointed in the effort or lack of effort by the community to get involved in this. And we all have been posting pictures of the waterfront now and pictures of the park, and hundreds of people have liked the photo, and only a few people have actually offered some time to volunteer in there. So it's a little discouraging and a little bit disappointing, but at the same time, when you see those pictures of that view, I just really am proud of it that I was a part of doing that. And I'm glad that you were a part of it as well, Rick.
Well, whatever it takes to make the city a better place.
And you personally, if you weren't down there, I'm not sure. You got a lot of things started for us as far as getting the chainsaws going and making sure that we had the right equipment and letting us know what kind of equipment to get ourselves. And now I'm a proud owner of a chainsaw that's broken right now, but it's going to get fixed. And and now I know how to go down there and and knock things down. And if there's any other projects out there that require this kind of effort, now I feel fully confident I can go and get it done.
There's other projects. We'll just look for them, pick them out, and take them by priority and see which ones would benefit the community the best.
I hear you, man.
When it comes to something that big, I mean, this was definitely one of the biggest jobs, and this wasn't any effort of one group or another group. It was just a bunch of friends getting together and making a difference. That's all it was.
Right. I think that some people on social media probably associate us with either Angels Anonymous or Citizens for a Cleaner Fall River, whoever it is. But really, you're right. This wasn't about those two groups. This was really about an invite for anybody from any group to get involved. And, maybe we'll get more luck the next time around. But I'm always going to be able to drive down Locust Street and down Danforth Street and take a look at that view and be very, very proud of the effort that we made to make that happen.
I think the people are going to be very happy to stand down there this 4th of July and be able to see the fireworks from that location, elevated up in the air, and really enjoy the view.
I'm definitely gonna go to Danforth Street for my view of the waterfront for 4th of July. There's absolutely no question about it. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of people down there 4th of July.
Have a little celebration.
I'd love to really see that memorial pushed back now. Like we were discussing, that fence brought around and really, improve on that memorial. A nice big flag up on top, because you can really see that from the highway now. And it'll just be something nice to drive down the highway and look to your right and be able to see.
Have you guys taken pictures from the highway?
Not yet.
Somebody should go and, two people at least, go and try and take a photograph from the highway.
See what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take some shots from the highway. I just want to make sure that there are no Hillary protesters burning streets in the middle of burning cars in the middle of the street. So we have to make sure of that first before
My
we
car
go.
is safe.
I'd just like to see if anyone has before photos of what that area looked like before. It'd just be nice to see the big difference. I mean, we know the big difference because we've been working down there, weekend after weekend.
Well, and this goes to a bigger, all these community efforts that you see in regular citizens do, it taps on a further issue for me when you talk about politics, and that, you got to raise the question, is your tax money really being invested in the maintenance of the city? And I've got a front row seat to the word no on that. And I'm pretty sure there are about 10 to 15 other people that would say the same thing.
I'd like to say to our politicians, show us the receipts.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think you can see the money now starting to go to the, improving the city. But, I mean, it's still a long way to go to really improve the city.
Yeah.
When's the last time you really seen the DCM out there doing the work that they've been doing?
I'm kind of glad that nobody gave us any trouble about doing what we were doing, because I would have lashed back at them, because if anyone would have said to me, hey, you're going to get in trouble for clearing out this beautiful area and making this park look as great as it does right now, I would snap on everybody. I would lose it, because we've been waiting for 30 years for some of these people to get off their butts and do something about the city. And don't condemn and come down on the people that trying to get things done. That's the way I would look at it. So I'm kind of glad that the politicians, instead of like trying to stop us from doing things, have been in some ways embracing it. You saw Norbert Farias get a recommendation. What was it? An accommodation?
A citation.
Yeah, citation. I'm sorry. Yeah, not too long ago for it. So to me, it's like, if they're going to embrace this, fine. But I don't want to see a single politician try to say, hey, you need to go through proper channels to do this X, Y, and Z. If you're going to make a bureaucratic process out of volunteering, get out of my face with it. Seriously, I'm not trying to hear that.
We didn't do anything that wasn't there before. I mean, years ago, that's what it looked like before. There was no weeds there, or just a beautiful overview. So we're just bringing it back to what it looked like years ago. That's all we did, is remove the weeds that overgrown over the past years.
Yeah, agreed. And I would love to see what you're talking about. I mean, that was the number one reason why I ended up down there, because during the summertime, I was in the middle of a ceremony with the Veterans Association, and there's a memorial for 2 fallen soldiers that are down at the at Turner Park. There's a little memorial for 2 fallen Fall River soldiers. One from the Gulf War, one from Vietnam, I believe, or World War II. I'm not sure. I got to double check that again. And when we were down there to do that memorial, there was nothing but trees and weeds and all kinds of stuff blocking the waterfront. And I'm thinking to myself, goodness, if we could do this ceremony with the battleship in the background, like as beautiful as it looks, that'd be amazing. And then I would say in June or so, there was a citywide cleanup, and the city ran a citywide cleanup, and Angels Anonymous's group ended up down at Danforth Street. And one of the guys by the name Davey, Pablo, asked me, hey, how come we don't clear that up? And I'm like, it would look really great if it did. And then another property owner from that area was talking to me later on about that. And so we ended up getting involved in clearing it up. And now, if they do a ceremony down there, they're going to have that beautiful view of the waterfront and the battleship right there to really solidify that.
Can I interject? They
Of
probably,
course.
I just
if
like to see a bigger memorial over there.
Yep.
Push it back to where that bump out is now. Move the fence back, and it just looks so much better, I think.
maybe the veterans
Bigger flag,
groups.
much bigger pole, really make it stick out.
And what I was going to say is, maybe if they didn't use that spot in the past for ceremonies, they will now, because it is now cleaned up. So props to you guys who did go in there and take it down. And even if it's just that one guy in the neighborhood who appreciated it, it was so worth it for you guys to do that, because you at least gave him some kind of hope to say, there's somebody in the city who cares about us. So here's my.
It would be nice if we had more people involved in it, that they know what's happening and know what's going on. If the person could just stick around for, an hour, half an hour, even an hour, it makes a big difference in the end, because if you can sit there for an hour or so, just clipping along the fence line, it's a big help to us later on, because we're out there with the chainsaws cutting down the trees, the big stuff. So later on, come back and clean that up, and it's going to make a big difference.
Yep.
So every little bit of help, is help. And even if they say, well, as much I can't really do much.
Well, I hope it starts to change.
Is enough.
I really think it's just like when I'm stuck in the middle of the thorns clipping away. It's gonna eventually, we'll eventually see the progress, but we just got to chip away at it.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes, man. And I'm glad that
Change takes time.
it's the effort to me that matters more so than what our expectations are, because I think that at one point, Rick, I was idealistic in believing that a group of guys or whatever would motivate other people to get involved. And really what I've witnessed is other people start to get jealous, and other people want to try to get the spotlight over the next guy. And I've seen more of that than inspiration to communities. I've seen a lot of likes on Facebook and a lot of commentary on Facebook, but when it comes down to getting down there and getting things done, a very, very, very small group end up finally getting down there to do things. And so really, we only get the real big volunteers during the holidays, during Thanksgiving and Christmas. The rest of the year, it's hit or miss as to who's going to volunteer. And WSAR, our only local area, they don't really make an effort to get people involved in there unless it's something that's promoting them and what they want to do, or promoting what a politician wants to do. They got everyone got behind when Linda Pereira was able to put together a cleanup down somewhere, but they had Ray Mitchell talking about it every 5 minutes. They had Rick Oliveira talking about it every 5 minutes because a politician was trying to do it. But whenever,
That was more political than anything else.
yeah, and it was politically motivated because she went down there with the DCM guys, and it was
all union guys.
Yeah.
And, I was there, Joe was there,
right.
Jordan was there. So it goes to show you that we don't care who it is. We can work on the side of anyone.
Like
Like I was telling you, it doesn't matter. We put things to the side and we get the job done. It's all about the final product.
And I'm just hoping that people's eyes start to get open as far as the role our media plays in this. Can you imagine if we were able to get some people to look at this in a newspaper? You know what I mean? Or even FRG TV would say something to us, but everyone's so set on trying to suppress good things unless they're involved in it.
There's also this other thing that the city has. It's called an all call for the schools that they seem to use for basketball games at Durfee, which are usually fundraisers and things like that. So this would be something that maybe for the citywide cleanups, do an all call.
Mm-hmm.
And the other piece we are missing huge in this city is our kids. If we're not going to teach our children at a young age to do things like cleanups and keep things neat and take care of them, they're never going to do it. Our city's way of cleaning is, yay, we'll get the guys from the jail to come in and clean up. You know how I feel about that, man, right? No, how about we teach our kids, you pick up your trash. It doesn't go on the ground in the first place. We teach our neighborhoods.
There's a young lady, I don't know, I can't remember her name, but TJ might remember her name. But a lot of times we have cleanups, from the Angels. She shows up with her kids. We did
Tina Maynard or I think it was either Tina or Briggs. I think you might.
I can't remember.
Well, I know those two definitely bring their kids to all the cleanups all the time.
She's got, I think, 3 kids, and she brings them.
Yeah,
cleanups.
I don't know if that one of those is Tina, but I know Tina. I've seen Tina bring her kid.
Big donation during the food drive
Oh,
last Sunday.
okay. There wasn't one of them two then. But yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. I don't think I remember the name though, but
I can't remember her name, but I mean, she was very generous. She gave a very big donation for a food drive.
Awesome.
So I mean, don't forget, for a lot of people out there, the Thanksgiving dinner that the Angel will be putting on too, Thanksgiving Day.
yep, definitely.
So tell your friends, tell your neighbors, somebody needs a really good hot meal. The volunteers will be there to give it away.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely.
I gotta go finish hanging some lights.
Hey, don't fall asleep
He's
on the
hanging his
ladder.
Christmas lights.
Hey, don't fall asleep on the ladder, bro.
I will.
All right, man. And if you make any miracles happen with that chainsaw of mine and you can get it working again, I'll be down there at Turner Park next week on Monday. I'm sorry, at 9:00 on Saturday. Sorry.
So 9 o'clock, so it's 10 o'clock, right?
Hey, I was there. I got you donuts and coffee.
Oh, I tell you must have stuck in line.
Oh, there was definitely a line. I mean, it's Saturday morning, but yeah, but I was on time. I was just getting coffee and donuts for you guys.
All right.
All right, see you, buddy.
See you later.
Bye. So that was Rick. Yeah. So just to talk real quick about that, I really am glad that again nobody from the city, because I tried to get help from the city to get involved in that, and it didn't work out too well. It ended up being a big political mess because there were local politicians that didn't want me personally to get any kind of public credit for this, which was just stupid.
They don't want Trot to have his street cred.
It's just insane. But regardless of that, I decided I'm going to go down there myself and get it done. And very, very happy and very, very fortunate that friends like Rick Barlow and other people such as Scott Donnelly and Davey Pablo and some of the other people, Derek
Keep
Morgado.
saying like all these names, and every time you mention one of their names, I'm thinking, he's so cool. He's so cool.
Mhm.
Like the people that
Yeah.
I have met, like really, you guys are all awesome.
Absolutely.
All he is.
Derek Morgado, my co-host here, and yeah, the scribe and the tornado. They've all chipped in. Rick Barlow and Scott Donnelly and myself have been there every single week. The other guys that I
Not you,
mentioned,
Derek.
huh?
I said, yeah, not you, Derek.
No, not Derek.
I'm only teasing.
But the other guys chipped in, and that's really all you need to do is just come in and chip in and throw down a couple of things. I'm hoping that Derek goes down there next time and sees it because he was there for the first day, so he knows that there were rows and rows and rows of trees and weeds and branches and this and that and thorns and everything. It looked like a jungle in there at one point. And now we've cleared it completely wide open to the point where, again, you can see the view, you can see the area. It should have never gotten to that level in the first place to where it's all cluttered up and completely disheveled, nasty, and actually kind of a hazard to people if anybody ever went through there and got hit with those thorns. Like it's a nightmare in there. So, and that fence wasn't doing anything to hold anything back. So very, very fortunate that the city decided to back off on that because I would have called every single person out. I would have said, where's the tax money to take care of this? What are you guys doing to take care of this? You guys take money for campaigns all day long and you get to use them for your trips and whatever else you want to do. Start thinking about what the community needs instead of what you need for your campaign. Like I was ready to go there with everybody on that. I'm very glad I didn't have to. Very glad. I'm sorry, I kind of went off on the microphone there.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm here.
Who do you want to run for president next year?
Next year?
Next 4 years.
I have no idea.
There's nobody right now that you say, hey.
No. Old school. I keep having the same. I'm looking to younger people. So maybe the next few election cycles, we'll have some people who are in positions that maybe we'll get to know them and they'll be possible candidates for the next election.
Do you think that Donald Trump has now has spawned off a type of candidate?
No. I think it could go either way. This could go really, really good or really, really bad. And when I say really good, all of us have been looking for a breakdown, party lines. Like we just want our country to get better. So if he does really well, that would be great. Okay. But with Republicans in charge right now, right? Does that lead us down to just an opposite of what happened this election, where everybody was against the Democratic nominee? Is everybody going to be against the Republican nominee?
You saw a Congress that dug its heels into the ground and decided to become one of the most unproductive Congresses of all time over the past 8 years.
Nobody talked about that.
Yeah.
Nobody discussed that was a Republican-run Congress, and nobody did anything.
They just dug their heels into the ground and decided they were going to try to oppose every single thing. 2 + 2 is 4 bill by Obama. No, it's 5. We're just going to we're the party of 5, right? Party of 5 is a TV show on
Very
Fox.
good TV show.
So to me, like, it was, they got their way now. They got their way. They got their Senate. They were successful in blaming the mainstream media and liberal party for everything under the sun. I'm friends with people, or I'm acquaintances with people that will figure out a way to blame Barack Obama for everything.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
No matter what it is. I don't care if it was like their favorite character dying on a TV show. They figured out a way to blame Barack Obama for it. So now, and I call everyone out, because I really think that we've seen people too dedicated to their Democratic and Republican parties to the point where they think they all have the answers, and they don't have the answers for crap. So now the Republican Party for the next 2 years officially will have every single possibility known to man to get every single policy that they want to get across. There's nothing blocking them. There's nothing stopping them at all. As a matter of fact, and it's like the third time I've mentioned it, they also have the opportunity to get the majority of their views getting across on the Supreme Court. So,
which they will. You say opportunity, but it's pretty much.
I'm calling it the way it is right now.
Yeah,
it's an opportunity.
It's gonna happen.
All right, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying.
I hope not. I hope I'm wrong.
Right.
Like, I'd love to be wrong on that one.
Yeah, but they held out. Paul Ryan held out. They all held out and made sure that they didn't make a decision until after the election, because now they can easily just knock off the appointment that Barack Obama wants and bring in somebody that Donald Trump wants. So it'll be very interesting.
And would it be somebody that Donald Trump wants, or would it be someone that the Republican Party wants? This is where we get into that.
I have my doubts. Again. I have my doubts that Donald Trump himself has made any kind of connection with the Supreme Court nominee.
Amen.
And has somebody that he wants in mind. And I have doubts on that. I just do. It is what it is.
Yep, he's a puppet right now.
It'll probably end up being Billy Bush for all we know. What do we know? But at any rate, we're going to wait and see. I think that he's going to take Pence's word, probably as gospel. He's going to probably take.
And then if he does that, what does his supporters say? Like, what if you are a Trump supporter, and what are you hopeful that he's going to follow what he has said, or do you believe that he's going to follow what the Republican group says? And if so, how do you feel about that?
It's interesting.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, because I don't believe that they voted for the Republican Party. I think they voted against the establishment. I keep saying that. I don't look at Trump like a Republican. He's against the establishment. He's this crazy guy. Yeah, he's this crazy guy.
He's supposedly against
a puppet.
He's supposedly against the establishment, but I don't think there's been a presidential candidate in the history of the United States that has given more money to the establishment politics than Donald Trump.
Yeah, because he knows how to work the law.
Ooh. I haven't seen a single presidential candidate that has contributed to other politicians more so than Donald Trump. He's helped in developing the political mess that we've been in.
The Clintons.
Yeah.
Very good friends with the Clintons.
He gave money to the Clintons. He gave money to Barack. He gave money to Republican candidates. The guy is a disaster. That's just the way I see it. You can unfriend me. You cannot vote for me. You can, whatever it is, but you can't prove me wrong on this. This is a true statement. People have been making excuses now, getting mad at me. I posted a picture up on Facebook, on my Facebook wall, about I said it showed a statement of Donald Trump completely smashing Hillary Clinton and saying, I'm going to put her in jail with my attorney general if I become the president, blah, blah, blah. This was on October 9th.
Yeah.
He won.
Oh, did you read the new comments? What he's saying now
What?
about Hillary? She's strong.
Yeah. Yeah. So now it's she dedicated herself to America and deserves all our respect and gratitude and blah, blah, blah. And people are like, oh, he's just being gracious. And, he's just saying the right, what? Excuse me?
Yeah, I thought you elected him because he said exactly what's on his mind.
Wait a minute. That's not,
now
whoa.
he's cool.
He's playing the game now and it's okay?
It's okay.
You guys voted for him because it was refreshing that he wasn't playing the game. He didn't. I'm not saying he had to go up there and smash Hillary Clinton, but guess what? He set the standard, didn't he?
Crooked Hillary. Come on. You didn't even call her by her name. You called her Crooked Hillary.
What a nasty woman.
Nasty woman.
Yeah. He set the standard. This is just me calling things out the way it is.
And that's why I keep going back to what I heard. My fears about a Trump presidency aren't because of what Hillary put in her advertisements. They're not because of what any Democrat put in their advertisements. It's the words that came out of Donald J. Trump's mouth, not even his publicist. They're his own damn words.
And we didn't even have to infer. We didn't even have to read between the lines on those comments on that commentary. It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. So no, do I think he should have went up there and be like, oh, we're putting Hillary in jail and blah, blah, blah in his commencement speech? No, I don't think so. However, to say that we all, need to give her respect and all blah, 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 to me, that's a complete 180 as to what he was establishing with the public about his thoughts on Hillary Clinton.
He still could have been nice, nasty to her. And that's how he should have been. He's been nasty the whole time. So he could have been nice, nasty.
If he came up there and said, there was a hard fought victory and, kudos to my opponent for running campaign and all that kind of stuff, would have been fine.
Yeah.
But going into that to me was
he's already kissing her.
He's lying.
Yeah.
Either he's lying or he lied to you during the campaign.
Yes. So either way,
he's lying.
A liar.
One way or the other, he's lying. And people are making excuses. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part because guess what, guys? I've seen it. I see it now with Jason Correa. I've seen it with people with Flanagan. I saw it with people with Sutter. I see it with Bob Correa. People lose their mind. I saw it with Obama. See it with Bill Clinton to this day. People lose their minds and they contradict themselves and they sound like hypocrites when they fall in love with a politician.
See, and that's when people call me indecisive because I walk the line. No, it's because there are some things I agree with on the left and there are some things I agree with.
So you're like you telling me you like the Johnny Cash of politics? Yeah, that was a pretty good one.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Are you the Johnny Cash of politics?
I just really didn't like that. I felt like the way you just talked like that, I was in a whole other world.
Yeah, you thought you was talking. No, anyway.
I like it.
It was very convincing. No, but seriously, you feel as though you're because he has a song called Walk the Line. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that's what you are?
I feel like I just have there are some things I agree with the Republicans. There are some things I agree with the Democrats.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
You have that right. I've been called a fence walker, even though there's zero evidence of it.
I am. You can call me a fence walker all you want. I appreciate that compliment.
Our friend from Spindle City Straight Talk said on Facebook that I'm a fence walker. That I don't make decisions.
I've always taken that when people have said that to me as a compliment. It's a compliment. It's my willing to compromise.
I mean, I think that there was situations where like George W. Bush was quote decisive and probably shouldn't have been so decisive on things. You got to think things through a little bit before you make decisions, especially when you're in a position of a lot of power.
And it's okay to change your mind. Mm-hmm. Like, it's okay to be like, that's the whole idea of communication and having different sides. Why do we have different sides? Because there's differing opinions. That's all it's an opinion. So the majority thinks one way or this majority thinks this way. Why can't I think both ways?
We're in a political situation, and maybe it's always been that way, Nikki, but we're in a political situation now where if you disagree with somebody, you no longer debate.
Yeah, it's like a big fight.
Yeah.
And to me, though, there's no reason to debate. If you love your candidate that much, that you're not going to listen
Right.
to like we're not going to conversate both sides, right? There's
Converse.
going to be two.
Converse. Yeah.
I said conversate.
Yeah.
So what?
So everyone makes fun of me when I get words wrong.
Presidences.
Everyone makes fun of me. I figured I'd do the same. Keep going.
It's just nice to make concessions on both sides. We sit here and talk about breaking down party lines, right?
Absolutely.
But then you're wrong because you don't pick a side.
You can't even break down human lines, and you're expecting people to break down party lines.
Mm-hmm.
You got to become someone that has the ability to intelligently have a discussion and disagreement with people without completely vilifying, demonizing, insulting, and then like shutting down completely just because they have a different point of view from you. It's ridiculous.
I like being a fence walker because I bring people together. I can bring both sides together at their common, what they have in common.
The extreme individuals are the ones that you're going to lose.
Yeah, but they're never going to listen anyway.
As long as if you're listening, if you're not in full agreement with everything they say, then that's it. That's
So,
it.
like for me, I can see why. Like when somebody likes Trump and they stick up for Trump, I can see why they do that.
Yeah.
So why can't they see why I don't?
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
If you're so angry that you want me to side with you, that's an issue you have on your own. That just maybe means that you're so closed-minded that you can't see other things.
The Republican Party for the past 8 years has been like really, really attacking Obama from every angle. They attacked Michelle Obama. Every angle known to man. They even had their own people say, hey, we're going to dedicate ourselves to Obama having a one-term presidency. So they were literally putting out there that they're willing to sabotage their own political scene.
The birthers.
Just because they want Barack Obama out as the president of the United States. So they already established themselves over the past 8 years as a party of contempt, as a party of opposition, as a party of obstruction. So when Donald Trump emerged as the candidate from the Republican Party, it didn't matter that he was offensive to people, to a lot of people. It didn't matter that he came up with all these things that offended people and people were like, whatever. It didn't matter. But the Liberal Party has advertised themselves as the party of tolerance, as the party of, we accept minorities and sexuality, be who you want to be and blah, 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 and all of that. So that is the reason why when they had their candidate try to play Donald Trump's game and insult people and things like that, it didn't come off that well with Hillary Clinton. It just didn't. It was stupid of her to do it. She should have continued to do what she tried to set up in the first place, which was be the person that can be above all this and to talk about policy and to talk about the kind of president she was going to be. She chose not to do that. She failed. Horrible, horrible candidacy. I'm hoping in 2020, when we see when Donald Trump is going up against whoever's going to challenge him, that whoever it is that's out there, whatever party they're from,
if he runs again,
he'll run again. Whoever, it's just like a done deal with the Supreme Court. He'll run again. But if he is able to, if he is going to run again, we'll put it that way, and his opponent, no matter who they are, no matter what party they're from, blah, 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 blah. I'm really hoping that they choose to not play Donald Trump's game.
Well, here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Even if he does run again, we'll see a different candidate during the next. We're going to have 4 years, possibly 4 years of a Trump presidency.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not even confident thinking that he's still going to be the same Trump he was this year. We're going to be a completely different country in 4 years.
He was a typical citizen that could sit from his position and point the finger and blame everybody. He's basically like anybody off the street that, criticizes politicians. That's who he was. He just happened to have a lot more money than your typical guy who did it.
Are we going to see Kanye West versus Donald Trump?
It's possible. A lot of people keep on saying that.
He did say he was going to run in 2020.
Yeah, a lot of people saying that. He could
That'd
run.
be something.
I wouldn't vote for him, but he could run.
I wouldn't vote for him either, but could you imagine Kanye and Trump?
I
It's
like
interesting.
I like some. I
We
like
could
a
just
lot of
play the- we
Kanye
could-
West music. to
Their
be honest with you.
theme, both their theme music can be famous.
Yeah, famous. I
Trump's in
actually
it.
I haven't liked a Kanye West song since like 2010, to be quite honest with you. But to be honest, but from like 2001 to 2010, I was a big Kanye West music fan. I'm not gonna lie. Do I think he could be a president of the United States? No, absolutely
No.
no. Nope. Runaway is what I would do. That's one of his songs called Runaway. If he became the president, I would run out of this country. I would move. I'm halfway thinking about New Zealand right now. I'm not even joking. But New Zealand's nice. But
Did you see the Canadian website they had on?
it shut down. The Canadian website shut down. Their immigration page shut down because they're anticipating an overload. I'd probably go to New Zealand. I have a friend who's a huge proponent to Donald Trump. So she says she wants to move, and I'm like, oh well, I'll only move with you if it's an invite, you know. And I vote for New Zealand. I said I vote for New Zealand. I have some friends in New Zealand. I wouldn't mind going there. Some old military friends down there.
Nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going there.
I'm staying.
Yeah, I'm very likely going to stay too.
I'm gonna stay and fight the good fight.
I definitely am running next year, so I have to fight the good fight as well. I have no choice.
Rock on.
Yeah,
Can we talk about Massachusetts referendum votes?
absolutely.
We can.
You can do whatever you want. This is your show too.
So it was
This is my
no
apartment.
on one was the vote, right?
Yeah, man. I
So
just
no
found that
more-
out.
No more slots.
Yeah,
No
no
extras.
extra slots. That's so silly.
No, it's
You
all right.
people
It's
are all
fine.
just jacked up.
It's fine.
No, it's not fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It'll
No,
come
it's
up
not
again.
fine.
It'll come up again.
It's not fine.
They don't even utilize all the slots that they have. The
It's
amount
not fine.
they're all those licenses aren't even used.
It's not our
So
business.
why did we need more?
It's not our business.
Obviously it was. It was on a referendum.
It shouldn't have been on the referendum. It's their business, guys. What are you doing? What are you all doing? It's their business. It's how they want to run it. Why are you telling people how to run their business? Who's it hurting?
Are they getting tax breaks?
Who knows? Who cares?
Well, I do. If you're saying
Well,
it's none
if
of
you
our
didn't
business,
know,
they're
if they
getting all-
didn't, the voters didn't know that.
Did
That's
you-
not why they voted no.
Did you read the full referendum?
Yeah, I don't remember it all though. I'm being honest with you. I don't remember it all. But truthfully, did you vote no because of Nikki's statement, or did you vote no because you were like, no, we don't need no more slots? That's why you voted no. Stop it. Anyway, number 2 was the charter schools. Another one
No.
where the no came out on top, which again, I have a different view on that. I voted yes on that. And there was a really big thread on my social media about that as well, about people who were for and against it.
I didn't think that was going to pass anyway. I think we had too many people in the school departments for that to pass.
Yeah, the school department has definitely convinced a lot of the voters and citizens that public schools is the way to go. And no, so that's how that went. 3, the animal thing. So there were some people that were posting on social media that they were voting no on 3 because there's only one farm that it affects in Massachusetts, and that this was really an agenda from the non-meat eating non-meat eating agenda, I should say, that really wanted to make eating meat more expensive, and so that way there would be less consumption and things like that. So they were like, no. But I'm still thinking about the animals. I'm like, even if it's only one farm and one animal, I'd still care about the treatment of that animal. So I'm going to go with no. I'm going to go with yes. And that's how I voted.
And that's the vote that won, was the yes vote.
Well, I think there were a lot of people that didn't know the details
Yeah.
of how it would actually affect prices and things like that. They just saw, oh my God, animals are being
Right.
treated a certain way. Let's do that.
Which is why it's so important for everybody to read the full referendum before voting on it. There was just an example.
Wait, you want people to read?
Quick example of what happened in Florida with the solar panels. Did you hear about that? In Florida, there was a referendum group come forward. They're solar panel proud. They want more solar panels. In Florida, they began a referendum. The opposing group, who didn't want solar power, came out and with their own referendum. But in that referendum, they made it seem like they were for. solar power. So it was like this big full on, it ended up going to court. Luckily it did not pass. The right group won, not the liars.
Mhm.
The right group won. So they'll be redoing all that. But that's why it's so important to read the full referendums. So you know what you're voting
You
for.
want people to read?
I know.
You want people to know how to say referendum?
I will guarantee you that nobody read 4. I'm almost positive nobody read 4.
There's actually 2 ways to look at 4,
There is.
right?
There is.
People can smoke weed, or people been smoking weed
Already.
way before question 4 came out.
Mhm.
People been smoking weed for a long time, tax-free, way before weed came out.
Mhm.
There's a real legit reason to not vote yes on 3. Legit, right?
Too legit to quit.
hey. So that I'm just saying, like you've already been getting away with this, people. You weed smoking heathens, right? So now,
Madness.
yeah, reefer madness. So now you're getting taxed for it. You might, if you could rethink this all
Okay,
over again, have said no.
you can cultivate it at home.
That's actually free.
So you do not have to pay any money for it.
Mm.
You can have your own. So that's what this did, was open up the door. I think this opened up the door more for medical users who cannot get licenses.
Right.
So that I think was more or less, but I know quite a few street level dealers who were not pleased that it passed. They were like, that's it, I'm not making any money. And I'm just like, you're so crazy, it's hilarious. But at any rate.
You just took away business from Fall Riverites,
Yeah.
man. It's messed up. No, that's funny though.
And the taxes on it, though, it passed. And like now our politicians are in an uproar because in the referendum, the tax was the regular mass 6.25. Then it was an additional 3.75. And each locality, each community could tack on another 2%, which is so much lower than it is in Colorado and in Washington. So now there are people saying that the state is going to lose more money than it's going to take in because of all the things they will have to pay for, the regulations.
If you're really quiet, if you're really, really quiet, you can hear my heart breaking for all those politicians that aren't going to get more money. You can hear it. It's just shattering slowly.
So it'll be interesting. And because our taxes are lower than other pro-marijuana states, it'll be interesting to see what companies leave those states and come to Massachusetts to grow, or are they just going to open in Massachusetts to grow? That's an interesting turn of events.
This is all very interesting, people.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if our taxes are lower, like, and you're a business owner, are you going to want to open up in Colorado where the taxes are really high, or in Massachusetts where the taxes are lower? We will see how this plays out.
I'm not a weed smoker. Never was really my thing. I was probably, I think, 16 or 17 the last time I ever tried anything like that. And I would say that I was batting 0 as far as having fun whenever I got involved with smoking weed. Whenever I got involved smoking weed, it consisted of me no longer being able to complete sentences.
Really?
Yeah, completely paranoid, completely worried, completely thinking about everything under the sun is out to get me. The television was talking to me, telling me.
Are you sure it was marijuana?
Yeah, it was probably laced with a whole bunch of crap.
Yeah.
All kinds of problems came my way by experimenting with marijuana, and I did not win that battle. So I stopped smoking weed, and I never have. I haven't since I was a teenager. I'm 36 years old now, so literally more than half my life ago.
Have you met anyone who is allergic to it?
I thought that my reaction was an allergic reaction.
I have a friend who years ago, we never smoked either, never, ever smoked. She decided she was going to one day just decide to smoke, and had a crazy allergic reaction to it. Passed out, like all kinds of craziness from it. Never touched it again after that.
Good for them.
But I thought it was really interesting because I'd never seen anyone have an allergic reaction. Like, I was one of those people who was like, you can't be allergic to it, but just like anything else, you absolutely can.
There was a friend that reached out to me and said, hey man, it was on social media. I start off, if you're a weed smoker, I start off all my sentences with, hey man. So he was like, hey man, you could, there's definitely other strains out there that probably wouldn't have the same effects, and you could try that out. And I'm like, yeah, I'm past like trying to experiment what the right
Meanwhile,
weed
yeah,
is for me.
meanwhile.
Like, I'm good, guys. I'm good.
You
I don't need it.
Kill yourself in the process.
Yeah, I'm good. I appreciate it, though. Thanks.
Hives.
I'm very comfortable with the life I'm living. I'm good. Thank you very much. But I did vote yes because who am I? I'm not a selfish individual. Why would, if it doesn't work for me,
Yeah, it's none of your business.
why in the world would I impede on someone that it does work for? That's the same mentality I had with slots in public schools and charter schools. Just because I grew up in a public school and I turned out okay does not mean that I need to take away the opportunity for somebody else who benefits from a charter school to grow and educate themselves and maybe become something too in their life. Okay, I really think that we need to take our own selfish ways out of these votes sometimes and really think about the bigger picture. We can have a better community if people had more opportunity around them. If Nikki on the side of me benefited from marijuana smoke and marijuana, the benefits for pain medication and everything like that, am I going to vote no just because I had a bad experience with marijuana? No, that's just ignorant. We got to stop being so ignorant with our voting. I'm never for the life of me going to understand
But there's a whole.
why anybody would vote no
It
to
should
expand
have
the
never
business.
been illegal in the first place. We're
Yeah,
so
it's true.
conditioned. We really are. Even
Yeah.
I catch myself sometimes and it aggravates me. We are so conditioned to think certain ways.
Yeah.
I was that kid when I was at Henry Lord. Really, I was that idiot that was like, Nancy Reagan's whole say no to drug thing. I literally sat, my uncle, God rest his soul, used to smoke pot. And I went over to my grandmother's house. And this is like when my mom passed away, I was 17 years old. My uncle was living with my grandmother. I had to move in with my grandmother. I walked in the house and all I could smell was marijuana. And I lost it on my grandmother. I'm like, Ma, it's drugs. And she's trying to tell me it's cigarettes. And I literally was like, it's so in tears, like it was going to harm me because I was so conditioned to think that it was such an awful drug, right? And that it was going to bring such turmoil to my life.
Yeah.
We're conditioned to think certain things. So
we're conditioned to give into our biases more so than not. And that's why you see in politics, especially, you see people who don't deserve certain positions get certain positions based on that. You saw that with Sam Sutter. You saw a little bit with Jason Correa early on before he fixed it and put some proper people in the right positions in his team. So you see that people always tend to lean towards their biases, and I've never seen it benefit the full population. I've never seen it happen. So, and if you've seen somebody do that, that's fine. But I'd be willing to bet that more often than not, 80 to 90% of the time, when somebody in position of authority chooses their biases over what's best for everybody, it absolutely is a disaster. So that's just the way I see it.
mm-hmm.
That door's not all the way shut. I'm going to go shut that door all the way before you end up with more guest hosts on the show.
Uninvited guest host, just surprise. Sometimes we have that. Sometimes we have random surprises.
Edward Costa was a great one.
Yeah, I love when he surprises us.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and see if I can reach out to Edward Costa to come back on. His last days are approaching soon of being a school committee member, right? He's only got 2 years, right?
Yeah, we're still until January 2017, the end of 2017.
The end of 17. All right, my bad. He's gonna be
like
in
another year.
So he's gonna be in his final year. I want to see maybe what his agenda is gonna be. What roots will he try to establish?
I will say this. Remember last year when my daughter didn't have a math teacher for like weeks and weeks, turns into months. We had our meet and greet, met our teacher, shook her hand, was looking so forward to, and math again, same teacher. Like 3 days into school, my kid comes home, math teacher quit. I'm like, what? Yeah, my math teacher quit. I'm like, again, here we go, again. So
teacher retention is so high.
They finally got a full-on replacement, supposedly, now that we're in November.
Yay.
But I'm happy to report my kid has all A's. Yay.
Awesome. Congratulations. She was the little smart aleck that was correcting me one time when she was in the studio back when we were doing the show at BCC, right?
Yeah.
She was correcting me
She still
about
does,
like
yeah.
the solar system or
I think
something like
she
that.
stalks your Facebook sometimes. She'll come and she'll tell me stuff that you post.
That's good. Now I have a legit secret agent looking at my page right now. That's great.
Well, if I'm not watching, my kids watching, I tell you what to do all the time.
Yeah, because I don't have an original thought unless Nikki Medeiros comes up with it first.
That's right. And don't you people forget it.
Yeah, interesting. Very, very interesting. So I went to the Veterans Day Parade. It was actually
Did you?
they started at 1:00. I was in front of my computer at 12:30 here. I was watching Batman cartoons. That's what I was doing. And I got a message from somebody to if I wanted to go into the parade. And I said, sure, I'll go in the parade. I helped them carry the flags. Flag is super duper heavy.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of aging and kind of, I would say, not disabled, but you don't want to put them in any bad positions.
Right.
Right. So I carried a flag and I go and it's a great time. And it's just weird to me though, because like, I just wonder how much it really helps people's campaigns to go into the parade.
It doesn't.
Well, you got people that are doing it for the visibility, that there are people out there that go in parades for that purpose.
I think it has an effect after
Yeah.
somebody gets elected. Like for me, you can always tell who's there just for that, but it's usually after someone gets elected. I dislike seeing certain politicians walking in certain parades, you know what I mean? Like a Memorial Day parade or what have you, pretending like they've fought, or that I don't like, or
It's disgusting.
or when I see a politician in a church procession,
Oh, it's the worst.
especially ones that I've watched like my whole entire life, and then
Yeah.
you see somebody who just got elected, and then all of a sudden they're in the procession, and you're like, whoa, where'd that person come from? That I think is when it has more of an effect, is after. I don't think it affects before, for me anyway. I wouldn't vote for somebody strictly on the fact that they were walking in a parade.
I heard someone yell out the term, I march with veterans, like to people publicly. I marched with the veterans instead of the politicians. And it's just like it just all doesn't, it's just it doesn't sit well with me. It just doesn't sit well with me. The people use these moments for their own political gain, right? And so here I am carrying an American flag, and I'm like, am I doing the same thing? Or am I just helping out guys that asked me to be there? You know? So I end up in a situation where you do have people out there that have been critical of me walking in parades. But I've only walked in veteran parades when they've asked me to
If
hold a
somebody
flag.
isn't going to vote for you simply because you are walking in a parade, then that's on them. They're not going to vote for you anyway. That's just, you know what I mean? It's looking
Just searching for some
because
reason,
then
yeah.
if they were really serious about voting for you in the first place, and it upset them to see you walking in the parade, to me, if I were that person, I would say, Trot, can I talk to you for a second? I really want to vote for you, but I'm having an issue. You know, could you tell me why you walked in the
Right.
parade? Like, I thought that was pretty cheesy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or maybe people just don't feel comfortable talking
Right.
like that. I have no problem saying, listen, I think what you did was, if something's cheesy, I'm going to tell you it's cheesy,
Yeah.
but I'm going to get to understand why you did it.
Yep.
If it's going to affect a vote, you know what I mean? Otherwise, I just think majority of the people who are saying it have an axe to grind.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Well, I was looking at it like internally. I was looking at me in this, you know what I mean? More than I was looking at other people saying stuff about it, even though people have.
Do you enjoy doing it?
Yeah. Well, I
Do
enjoy the fact that they've asked me to come down and do it.
Because
I would never say no to somebody who asked me to help them with something like that. You know what I mean?
I've never been in the military, but if I get a phone call, a message, or what have you, and someone asked me to be a part of it, I would be a part of it simply out of respect for those who did fight.
Mhm.
like that's, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's just, you can see somebody's intent. You know what I mean? And it's not every politician, but you could tell which politicians are in which parades for
Yeah.
what have you. And like I said, but that's usually after. I don't ever pay attention before,
Mhm.
It's usually after.
That's just something. I only see myself working with that group even whether I win the a seat or not in the future, I really don't see myself doing these things unless there's a functional purpose to it. I don't mind doing campaign related stuff, but I don't want to pervert a good cause just for my gain.
You mean like the children's Christmas parade?
Yes.
Children's Christmas parade.
Yes.
Why do we need politicians
Right.
walking in the children's Christmas parade?
Right. It just seems like it's
If they're
campaign
gonna do it, the
opportunity.
least they could do is dress up like little elves,
Yeah,
give out candy, not walking in their trench coats.
it's
Because
tough.
they always got a trench coat.
It's tough to watch, and some people love it. Some people want to see their politicians do.
Yeah, I'm not like that. I think when I
Right.
see a politician at too many events, I'm questioning why isn't he working. So for
Yeah.
me, that's usually where I sit. on
It
that.
just comes down to personalities. It comes down to genuosity.
Mhm.
Is that a word?
I don't know, but it sounds pretty good.
It does sound pretty good.
We can add it.
Yeah, just a genuineness to them. Like I want to see that, and I'm failing to see it in a lot of
I think
capacities.
the only politician that I think would be excited about the holiday parade, and it probably would be Pam. I think Pam's the only one that walking in the Christmas parade that looks like she belongs.
I can see her waving to her kids and stuff like that.
Yeah, like
Probably
walking alongside of her kids. 'cause
very
she's
proud.
Yeah.
I can see that.
But the rest of them, like, I just,
Yeah.
Steve walking down the,
I could see Pam
Yes.
dressing up her kids as elves, as
Yeah.
you suggest.
yes,
I
and
can see
herself
that.
like that. But to me, that's okay. Like, I would see her in that. But when I see the other ones, I'm like, I laugh. I do. I laugh. Come on, I laugh. And then I take pictures and I'm like, oh, look who showed up.
I'll give you a little story about when I'm talking about people who are genuine and not genuine, right? Two people in this story are not genuine. It was around the time where Aaron Hernandez was being prosecuted, and he was in and out of.
Being prosecuted by whom?
Oh goodness, that's right. At any rate, yeah. So he was being prosecuted, and we had a lot of debate going on in the council chambers about changing the way we handle our parking meters and all that, right? So this was around Rich Cabaceres and Linda Pereira were not. I didn't know they were. Talking yet and on talking terms as far as his campaign and all that kind of stuff. So I was on one side of the aisle and Rich was on the other side of the aisle. I had his phone number back then. And I text messaged him. Yeah, because we were friends actually at that point in time. I didn't have a problem with him. So I text messaged him and I said, because I'm hearing Linda Pereira here. Linda Pereira is in full Linda Pereira mode here. She is on her platform. She's just like, we need to charge more money for these meters and blah, blah, blah. And I saw wires in the middle of the road. And I saw an elderly person almost fall on the ground, tripping on him. I was like, I texted Rich. I said, Rich, you hearing this? He's like, yes. I go, Rich, do you really think she saw somebody almost fall down? And why would she choose to say it when she's advocating to charge Fox and CNN more money? It doesn't seem like the platform to do that. It seems like she's using this to justify her position to get people to say, yeah, we should charge these people more money. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, if a real genuine person really saw somebody, an elderly person, tripping over a wire, would they have waited until council meeting and yelling about the meters and trying to raise prices on the meters to bring that up?
I think I would have been more concerned with the wires that tripped
Yes.
the elderly person as opposed to how much that person's paying to be there.
Right.
Because even if they pay triple what they were already paying, the damn wires are still there.
My point is, I believe if Linda Pereira really saw a
That's what
person
we call
trip and fall,
bloviating. That's bloviating.
that's grandstanding
Yes.
on another level. But I guess what I'm trying to say though is, if Linda Pereira really if she really saw an elderly person almost trip on those wires, I'm pretty sure she would have immediately said something. to the
The
public.
wires would have been onto the road
Right.
or wherever off the sidewalk, wherever
Right.
they were.
That didn't happen.
No, and this is Linda, so we're talking old school
Right.
politician, been in Fall River for a long time.
Absolutely.
And let me just say, for somebody who really cares about elderly people, we have many elderly complexes in the city
Yes.
that are riddled with issues.
Yes.
Cockroaches, bed bugs,
Lack of
fire
security.
hazards. Yeah.
Lack of security.
Yeah. So
Lack of security, everybody. I'm going to reiterate that one more time.
yeah, those problems aren't going anywhere.
Real quick, though.
Just saying.
Real quick, though. So I send this message to Rich. I'm like, Rich, like, you believe what you're hearing right now, right? Like, this woman is grandstanding. Like, I can't believe, like, what's going on here, right? About 3 days later, I'm volunteering at the soup kitchen on Purchase Street.
Mhm.
Linda's there. She is livid with me. Snapping, I'm not happy with you, Trot. That's what she said.
Let somebody talk to me like that. I would laugh right in their face.
Well, I said, do you want to talk about this? Like, we can talk. I already knew what it was about
So sad.
because I put 2 and 2 together. Obviously, Rich Cabaceras
I'm down
ran
here,
to Linda and told her that. And I'm like, are you really that mad? Like, we could talk about this. Like, there's nothing to be upset about. I just didn't believe it. Like, it is what it is. I didn't believe it. I don't want to talk to you. This is not the time.
Oh, CC, and I would have been like, what do you think about the cockroaches being in the elderly complexes?
So
What
she
about
walked
bed
away.
bugs?
So she walked away and has not
That's
really
why I don't talk to
been happy with me ever since that day.
I feel bad.
But thinking about the genuineness of all of this, Rich acting like he's a buddy. Obviously not a buddy, right? Just will step on anybody he can to get his political needs met. Fine. That's fine. I don't even care that much about that. I really had a problem with the whole wire thing. That was my biggest problem. Like, do we just allow politicians to lie to us all day long and we just go along with it?
Yes. That's exactly how it's
It
been.
is so disappointing.
That's
man.
exactly how it's been. Every time they open their mouth, half the time, it's. I sit there at home and I'm like, what the hell are they talking about?
Think of a politician that would do the right thing. Like would genuinely do the right thing.
Things would get done.
I think that there's certain guys out there that do that you can trust. Like Eric Poulin. I've seen a lot of Eric Poulin. I didn't know Eric Poulin as a city councilor or as a mayoral candidate. I've known Eric Poulin after it. And he is a genuine nice guy. You can see it in his face. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm sure he had something going on back in the day, whatever. I don't know. But I just know what I've seen of him. He's a genuine guy, right? I don't think he would watch a woman, an elderly woman, trip over a wire and then try to use it for political purposes.
He would have got the wires out of the way.
That's what I'm saying. Another person who I think is honest or at least tries to do the right thing, Steve Long, right? He would not have
It's like
done.
the superhero in this to me, the underdog.
Steve would have 100% went completely public and told everybody.
I don't care what you think.
Exactly. He would have just went straight out there and said,
The wires himself.
I cannot believe that I just watched an elderly woman almost fall down. But what's Linda doing? She goes out there and uses it to advocate to charge CNN and Fox News more money
Because they pay more money in other places.
for parking meters. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And this could possibly be a mayoral candidate. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm not calling anybody bad people. I'm calling them out on what they do. If I don't do it, somebody's got to do it. And if I do it, you better call me out if I do it.
Oh,
Right?
I will.
That's all I'm saying. Let's call spades here. This is wrong. Wrong. And bad politics for our city.
I wonder
Bad
if she's going to
politics
use
for
the
our
same
city.
jingle.
Bum ba ba bum ba bum bum ba bum. I remember that. Linda Ferrera. That's
Pareto.
hey, everyone loves it.
Pareto.
Everybody loves it. She should use the
Of
jingle.
course.
That's
like Ponty. Ponty.
Cliff Ponty. I think Cliff is going to win again, even though he didn't live up to any of his promises. I think that
Poor thing. I feel bad.
I think I really do think a lot of the people out there are going to come back. I think Pam's got it blocked.
Yeah, I think Pam's got it locked. I think Long's doing a pretty good job too. Like he's the underdog. I look at him like he's the underdog.
Joe can be a city council for as long as he wants to be in the city. He just got it. Sean,
It's so funny to hear when you guys talk about him like this now. It's like so different from what it was.
no,
Yeah,
as council president, I did not agree with a single thing he was doing that back then. I mean, I was disappointed when he was up there when they were voting for Racine in his contract.
Mhm.
I was very disappointed in Joe that he allowed the police officers to bully, like, and just clap over everybody that didn't agree with their
Right.
point of view. And he just stood there and he had a little smirk on. I was like, this is not cool. Like I was looking, I'm like, you kidding me, right? But he's been a really good city councilor in his chair. He has been this year.
I
Oh.
saw something in Joe I told you a long
Yeah.
time ago.
Yeah.
I've always I don't have to agree with everything a politician says or does
No.
in order to stand behind them. Again, I'm okay with having a conversation, even though I might not agree with something.
Mhm.
It's a give and take. You know what I mean? I can't expect everything to go my way. You can't always get what you want.
No.
So when I look at politicians, that's actually what I look for. Somebody who may disagree with me, but who's not going to insult me
Yeah.
for my beliefs. Somebody who's actually going to listen to them and say, okay, I hear what you're saying, but X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
That's called working together.
Yeah. I really, really am not sure how this is all going to go with Donald Trump's presidency. I'm not really sure how things are going to go as far as anything that's going on in this whole situation within the city.
Maybe that's a
or
good
not.
thing that we don't know. You know, maybe these are the times and they're changing. You've said that several times, you know, time to change it.
Yep. But
It's an evolution.
life continues to go on, right? Uh-oh, we got one last phone call here. Hey, buddy, we're about to shut down, so very good timing on your phone call. What's up? We're right in the middle of recording City Talk Fall River, buddy.
Oh, hey, hi, how are you? I knew that's exactly what I was doing. Are you done beautifying the world?
I think personally, you did not know that we were live right now,
That's accurate.
but I think that you were ready to call me and talk to me about the Tribe Called Quest new CD, correct?
Wow, it's so hot. I'm glad I don't actually have the CD because I wouldn't be able to hold it.
Wow.
So it's that good, huh?
Uh-oh.
It's unbelievable, actually.
Now, is Fife Dog in this? Because I know he passed away.
Yeah, he's in it. He's in it, but he's not in every song, you know, for obvious reasons. But he's in a lot. You know, Bust is there. Andre 3000 also makes an appearance.
Nice.
Very good CD. Actually, it's turning out, and it's only been around for 24 hours. I've listened to it about 10 times. It's
Wow.
turning out to be what I mean. I'm going to put up there with Midnight Marauders.
Midnight Marauders and the 36 Chambers and
I just meant it as far as a Tribe Called Quest goes.
Ah.
I'm gonna put it right up there with you know, it's one of their best so far.
I'm actually on my way out the door. I probably will have to go and stop by the store to get that soon today.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, thanks for having me. Sorry I ruined
You
what was probably
need-
a great show.
Adam never ruins a call.
No,
Never
you-
ruins the show.
You never ruin anything.
Thank you, Nikki. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Hey, question 3, go. No, wait, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I can't believe that Herald News actually advocated for people to vote no on question 3. There was, you know, our view, that portion of the paper, and basically my comment to them was, you're advocating for animal cruelty based on the fact that poor people won't have access to cancer and heart disease.
Me.
That was his main argument, is that poor people wouldn't have as much access to meat. And I've read blogs because Massachusetts is the first state to do this.
Wow.
And people are, you know, obviously elated that this happened. And everyone's question, you know, not from around Massachusetts on social media, is who would vote no? You know, and it's funny because the Herald News did. You know, I can't even, how you can put out your arrogance, your ignorance on a topic like that blows my mind.
I will give the Herald News credit that they got it right when they endorsed me.
Well, of course, but my wife had it right when she said consider, where we live.
Yeah. Is what it is.
It's bad for the planet too. So you consider that these kids that they're saying, that they won't have access to this stuff. Well, everyone's going to have access to global warming. So congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah, it's another thing. Donald Trump's the president. Do you think he's going to support any climate change issues for you?
I hope he does. I hope I'm so wrong on Donald Trump that I have to reelect him. Like, that's how good of a president he's going to be.
I hear you.
I'm completely wrong.
See, that's what we're all.
It's one of the few times where I think you're going to be right on this one.
He seems to be leaning more toward the middle than he was on the campaign trail. It's almost, it seems to be like there's two different people. The campaigning Trump and then the governing Trump. Maybe, you think Barack Obama gave him his business card and it's like, hey, you're probably going to,
yes.
Trump's like, hey, can you leave your business card for me? Because I may need to hit him up.
Barack Obama has never been in the presence of Donald Trump before. They've never physically met each other before. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I think when he kind of opened him up to like everything, Donald Trump had a look on his. There's pictures. He had a look on his face of like holy crap, I'm the president of the United States.
What did I get
like it was
into?
settling in, like what it actually entailed. And I'm not saying that this is going to change him in any way, shape, or form. He still has Pence as his vice president. I mean, they're all going to get in his ear.
It's pretty conservative. It has to be a very humbling experience. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
To walk into the Oval Office.
Absolutely.
And be in charge of it.
And be like, wow, this is something. This is real. This is not a joke anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not the type of person that would get very starstruck. Obviously, if it was like an artist or something I ran into, I'd just be like, oh my God, thank you. Like, you're so awesome and this and that. But I think if I ever met the president, I'd probably poop my pants.
I know that for Donald Trump, he came off the streets from a very critical angle. He had zero experience in governing a state or a country. So now he's going to have to be the person that's on that pedestal, and he's going to have to live up to all the criticisms that he tossed around to people.
The interesting thing is that his family obviously is taking over the family business. Now, when they do business overseas, let's say in India, he wants to open up a couple, hotel chains or what have you. Then these people, the government, are going to think that, of course, we're going to give him a break. We're dealing directly with
the president,
of the United States. And he might be like, there may be some trade agreements. Say, we'll knock a 0.5 percentage point off this, that, and the other if, my towers can go up there. So that's definitely a conflict of interest that I think a lot of people didn't really take into account. Not that they care, because if you voted for Trump, you voted for him. He's your guy. So I don't think it really matters. It's just kind of an angle I don't think a lot of people considered before.
We'll see all the excuse making come out. We'll see it.
Oh, yeah.
He's already backtracked a little bit on his position on Obamacare. So.
Well, that's why I'm saying he's definitely leaning more toward the middle than I thought he was ever capable of.
It just shows his indecisiveness and his flimsy way of making decisions.
And him not being a politician, your inexperience. Yeah. It's what it's showing.
Yeah.
Well, I said this, if they repeal the government insurance or Obamacare, which Massachusetts has had since I think the mid-90s.
Since Romney.
Health, Medicare, Medicaid. I'm going to be out of a job, if they do that. So I'm going to move down to the Mexican border and help build that.
He's going to be the greatest jobs president that God has ever created. So I think you're wrong. I'm using rational thoughts and reasoning, deductive reasoning, to come up with my position. So I don't know where you're coming with this.
The thing is, one thing that's a job creator for one may be a job killer for another. I know he mentioned, clean coal and tapping into the coal. We have the biggest reserve of coal of anyone in the world. But the fact of the matter is that coal is literally carbonized, fossilized carbon.
Yes.
And they're going to release it into the atmosphere.
Yep.
There's no such thing as clean coal.
There's no such thing as any clean fossil fuel.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah. So I don't know, but again, that's, you know, the American. And what she won by, the popular vote, she won by almost a quarter of a.
Yes,
No,
I think she
nope,
won't
nope.
try.
When you read the final tally, like all the states were not counted when they said she won the popular vote. He ended up winning the popular vote too.
Oh, when did that come out? 'Cause
That came out a day ago.
That's why I come here for my news.
I got it from NPR, bro.
Oh, that's the greatest news station ever.
I actually like NPR, but I like a lot of like different things.
Adam,
Yes.
there is a website that I would like you to check out. You're going to love it. It's called communitycarbontrees.org. I will actually text it to Trot so he can text it to you. I want you to check it out and then let me know what you think.
What do they do basically?
They're actually all about planting trees 10 degrees within the equator into the rainforests, because their claim is that alone is going to help take out the carbon. I guess each tree sucks up 1 ton of carbon per year.
Yes.
So that's the goal, I guess, for $25. If you send them $25, you can plant a tree in Costa Rica.
Nice.
And they actually go in with the families there. It's like basically all the cattle farms that happened back in the 1980s when they were cutting down all of the trees.
They actually still do that, Nikki. The deforestation of the Amazon
Yep.
is due to factory farming.
That's what all this is about, honey. So like even Doritos, I guess, is one of the companies. And I didn't even realize that Doritos, us buying Doritos, means they're chopping down some trees in the rainforest.
Well, anytime there's an animal product consumed or used, it contributes to the, you know, the whole global, you know, decline of the environment. There's another company, real quick. I know you guys have to go. It's called 10 Tree. They're on Instagram. I'm sure they're on Facebook. And anytime you buy anything from them, they literally plant 10 trees.
Awesome. See, that's awesome.
You know, T-shirt's a little pricier than normal, but again, when you consider they're planting 10 trees for everything you buy,
What is
I
this
think
site
that's
again?
pretty cool. If you guys get a chance, it's on YouTube. Gary Yourofsky, he does a speech. It's called The Greatest Speech of All Time. And he does that at like colleges and stuff like that. He talks about the impact of, you know, factory farming on the environment. It's pretty cool because it doesn't really delve too much into the cruelty part of it, but it does a really good look on, you know, the effects on the planet.
Awesome. I'll check it out for sure.
Send me that text, and I appreciate it. Have a good day, guys.
Take it easy, bud.
All right, man. Later.
So that was my friend Adam, who is complete vegan, tree-hugging, crazy person as well. And I have friends from all sides of the spectrum, and I like that. I do. I like that because then you get to listen to things you never think you'd listen to. You'd have to pigeonhole yourself into thought processes, right? It's kind of nice. So I am going to, actually, I called him a tree-hugging vegan right now because he's not listening to the show. He's actually much stronger and bigger than me. He probably could crush me.
Yes.
So it's kind of funny. But I am going to now put on a song. Hey, maybe I'll put a Tribe Called Quest. Oh, the presidential. There you go. See what we got here. Hail to the Chief. All right, guys. Hail to the Chief is going to be our music today in honor of the worst election of all time, in my opinion, the Donald Trump-Hillary Clinton election. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and have a great week. We will be back, and enjoy yourself.
Have a good one.
Let me get this microphone off here real quick. Get this party started.
So discombobulated sometimes.
I don't even want your opinion on things sometimes either. Let's see.
You lie. You want my opinion all the time.
Even if I don't?
Yes.
All right. Here we go.
I told you that already.
It's true.